Perfect. Okay, so today we're going to talk about something very exciting. I honestly got so excited while creating this presentation because I basically reverse engineered what I did and collected all the feedback I ever got from my coach. And this is today's training. So I think it's going to be quite cool and relevant. There will be time for questions, but feel free to write comments and questions in the chat as well. I'm going to try and remember to regularly check. But if I don't, you can also just turn on your mic and ask me. That's absolutely fine. Yes, feel free to have snacks and tea and stuff. It's supposed to be cozy. Okay.
Is it okay if I smoke?
So it's, of course it's okay if you smoke. It's not like we can smell it unless there is some new technology that I don't know of. Okay, cool. Let me start sharing. Ta-da! How to create your offer. So guys, we're going to cover 4 things today. How to decide what your offer could be, okay, if you're still not sure, because I know some of you might not be sure, but also I think it's going to be relevant even if you have an idea for an offer, because you could add another offer to your menu, right? Then we're going to talk about how to create such a thing, how to write and present your offer, and how to talk about it. So, how nice, so animated. So your brilliant offer. I don't know if you have that association. I don't know if it's relevant, but I had that association with this Italian book, Your Brilliant Friend. So your brilliant offer today. What I would like you to do is in the chat, write what you think when you first think of the word offer, okay? Obviously, it will be relevant to ELT, but how do you understand the word offer? You can give me examples or a definition of how you understand it. Your course breakdown and price, what you're going to get for a price. Cool. What else? What else? What else? What you can give to your clients, I guess. Yeah. Something that you want to give. Yeah. Materials, course, and how much or how long. Yeah. Added value you couldn't get any. Oh, I like that one. The problem you will. Oh, somebody's been doing their homework, Andrea. Specific program with length of time plus price. Absolutely. Perfect. Okay. And what I'm going to add to this is that I believe that in the world of marketing and business, there are basically just 3 elements. There is, yes, what's available for the client. Absolutely. Yeah. There is your client, their problem, and your offer. And all of those things together is why we do what we do, basically, because we provide them with some sort of a service, depending on the other 2 elements that is going to help them solve the problem. And obviously, it's going to depend on who those people are. Okay, so how to think about your offer? Unfortunately, lots of people think that an offer is just something that we create, show to the world, tell people how much it will cost, and that's it. Okay, that basically, I think it can be even put under the umbrella of what people think about marketing. So people think that marketing is a certain thing that we're good at or that we've created, and we tell people, here is what I've got, you can take it or not, okay? But there is a bit more to it, okay? So, and it's for many reasons. One reason might be because the market is, any market is quite saturated. People say that the ELT, the English language teaching world, is quite saturated. But to be honest, ever since I started working with other business women in completely different niches, fields, they all say the same. Oh, my market is so saturated. My market is so it's generally the truth. So in order for your offer to mean something, to be meaningful, it has to, in a way, stand out. It has to be something that that you believe in, okay? It cannot simply, even though it is in essence that, okay, in many cases, unless you are a teacher trainer, but it is in essence teaching someone some English, right? But when you present it, when you talk about it, and when you package it, it's much more than that, okay? And that's what we want to achieve, okay? So for example, in teacher training sort of cases, it would be more than just telling teachers how to teach, but the whole package that goes with it. So what do you think? Can you offer more than one thing in your business as a, let's say, a solopreneur or a, yeah, absolutely, you can, okay. But what do you think is a good idea at the beginning? To have many so people can choose from, or to have one and focus on it? What do you think? You can write in the chat or let me know.
One thing.
One thing, yeah. Do we all think one thing? I would probably agree. Yes, yeah. Again, as always, I'm going to say there is nothing like particularly wrong with having more than one offer, okay? This is just something that I advise, and I say it because it's just much easier to focus on one thing when you're still developing as a entrepreneur, as someone who is only just starting in the world, or even if you already know where you're going. I think it's much easier to do one thing at once, right? So I don't know if you notice, maybe you're not trying to understand how I work, but I never try and do two things at once. So in my offer, there are basically two things. There is working with me one-to-one, and there is my membership. I focused on the membership for a short while when I was recruiting. Now I again switched focus onto my one-to-ones. So I only mention the membership because I'm not trying to recruit, right? And that's the way it's supposed to be. It's just much easier. And number 4, I know it might be a bit of a stupid question, but do you have to have an offer? Or can you just say, oh, somebody asks and you say, oh, just I teach English. Is that, do you think that's okay? That's acceptable? Can we do that in theory? Sure. We have to have an offer. Yeah, Emmanuel says, yeah, we could say, oh, sorry, start with one and then build on what their feedback. Absolutely. Exactly. I think, again, it's much easier to go to people with something very concrete, very specific, okay? Something that we've, oh, let me just admit another person, something that we know inside out, right? Something that we've built, something that is a bit of our baby, right? Because when you think about your offer, hi Seda, hello. We've only just started, so don't worry. It's something that you are going to be much more comfortable. Basically, I know not everyone likes the word, but selling, right? Because there is sales involved, believe it or not, in one form or another. Okay. And so when you have market yourself, the one thing could be just one-to-one, not groups and business. I would say so. And especially, and what Emmanuel said at the beginning is also very relevant. It's better to start with something, with a one thing, and then add to it, okay, when you're ready. It's the same with anything else, that when you first start, it's just easier to handle one thing. However, I know that it's going to be relevant to some of you here who are already established, who already have done a few things, to now be ready to add to your offer. And then in those cases, it's absolutely fine. Okay, so don't get it wrong. I'm not saying that you can only have one thing that you offer ever. Okay, right. So the next thing, oh, not that side, not that way. So crazy animations, isn't it? what can you offer actually, right? So people who have already established that this is going to be easy, you somehow got to the point when you realize, okay, so this is what I'm going to offer. Whatever thought processes came through your head, they were all okay, fine. Whatever came out of it is fine. For those of you who are still not sure, or if you're in a situation where you can add something new, you could think about it in this way. So I would consider those 4 elements: you and your strengths, your client's needs and wants, your circumstances, and your client's circumstances. And I've got 2 examples for you. So let's say that there is a teacher who loves teaching pronunciation and loves teaching about natural speech. Okay, so different aspects of pronunciation, maybe some accent coaching, things like that. Okay. The client's need is that they need lots of individual attention and they may be shy. Okay, so if you imagine, again, I've sort of made it up, but I try to imagine what a client or what a student who would be interested in such a service would need and want. They would probably want individual attention and individual feedback, right? They might feel a bit intimidated if they are in a group. Also, if we were to consider some, self-study, I don't think it would work particularly well, because feedback is very important in practicing pronunciation. So again, I thought that those are the teacher's strengths and what the teacher really likes. Those are the needs of the students. Then the circumstance is that the teacher runs this business alongside a job and are only just starting. Okay, I'm just imagining it. And the students also, that's the circumstance of the students, understand that the value of one-to-one in this case is probably the most suitable. So they understand that in order to work on their pronunciation, accent, or whatever they want to do with their speech, so it sounds more natural, they probably need a one-to-one, we could even say coach, okay? And in this case, I think that a one-to-one pronunciation and natural speech coaching is a very good offer, right? So for some of you who are still thinking about an idea for what you can create as an offer, think about it in exactly that way. And I already said in a package of 10 lessons, just because I always advise not to sell anything by the hour, because it's just a bit of a trap. We know that. I think I've mentioned that a few times. I mean, you can, again, it's all up to you. I can only advise, but one thing is, when you actually start thinking about helping people rather than providing a service that you want to provide. So let's say you're really interested in something, so you create this offer, but you don't actually know how it's going to work for your students, then you fall into that trap of focusing your offer on you rather than them, right? Well, again, your offer can't only be focused on what your strengths or your interests are. It has to have the element, if not the most important element of what those people actually need and want. What you might find out at some point is that very often you will think, but they need something else, okay? But what they want will be completely different, okay? A good example is that when I first started running my Instagram profile, I thought that I would be combining 2 things: teacher methodology and business tips. Guess how it worked? It didn't, because nobody wanted. They went for the methodology tips elsewhere, or they were willing to stay for methodology tips, but then they didn't want business advice, okay? So I had to choose one or the other. And I thought, oh, but they really need it. Some people are still, they could be opening a business, but they are still quite, beginners at teaching, so I could help them. But the market chose, so I had to deliver what the market wanted. And that's really, really crucial, that you know what those people want. How do you find out what they want, by the way? Any ideas? How do you find out? Ask them. How do you ask them? Yeah, absolutely. Polls. Love it. Social media. Have you noticed how many polls I do every day? Probably about 5 or 6 or 10. I probably overuse them a little bit, but I sometimes can't help because I love interaction. I can't just be speaking to the void. I love people to interact. So if they are not responding to my stories, which happens quite a lot, I would use polls, quizzes. If you already have emails of some people, past students, for example, current students, send them an email and ask, even if it's just 10 people, literally, send them an email asking, creating a mini questionnaire, a mini form on Google or anything like that, or literally 3 questions. What are your biggest struggles in English at the moment? What do you enjoy about English? Okay, thank you very much for taking part in my questionnaire. Really appreciate it. It will help me create an offer, right? So their voice is extremely important. Della, can I go back to your question at the very end? Yeah, can you remind me as well? Because I will probably forget. Thank you very much. Oh, Hannah loves my polls. I love it that people love my polls because I love them too. So I'm not going to stop, not going to stop ever. And also, by the way, that's another, I mean, some people probably know about it, but your polls boost your engagement on social media. So Instagram knows that you're a living person and that you actually want to make people active, which Instagram loves. Okay, so the more interaction on your account, the better for your account. Okay, so there are 2 things. I love interaction, and number 2, I'm doing it to grow on Instagram. Okay, so that's one example of possibly a one-to-one. Okay, not for everybody, but I think especially if you're starting, and especially when you're doing it alongside something else, it's a good idea. It doesn't have to be pronunciation. This is just an example, obviously. But whatever else. So I think in the challenge, if you haven't watched the videos, we tried to think and make a reflection about what your strengths could be, what your magnet could be. So go back to that, and based on this, think about what that specific thing, oh, we've lost somebody, could be. Okay. Another example could be, this is an example of a real life person on Instagram. They love teaching groups and they love talking about culture, okay? And things like social issues as well. Then the need of their students, based on how they behave on social media, what they comment on, is that they study for pleasure, okay? And they want to be confident in social situations. So I would imagine they probably live in an English-speaking country, okay? And they just want to be a bit more fluent, okay? And there are people like that. So it's a great combination for the teacher because they love the atmosphere of group teaching. And they can deliver that sort of environment to the students, okay? The teacher's circumstance is that they have probably already been teaching one-to-ones and now they want to scale. They want to make more money because we can imagine that with groups, we could potentially make a little bit more because we can squeeze more people, teach more people in less time, right? You okay, Andrea? Good, okay. And the student circumstance is that they understand the value of group speaking because they understand that in order to be fluent and in order to be confident in social situations, they have to practice speaking with other people, not only the teacher in a one-to-one setting. And also because they only study for pleasure, they don't have that extrinsic motivation, for example, that, you know, sometimes people study because they have to improve for their jobs or whatever, but those people can probably afford a little bit less. So in group classes, they can pay a bit less. So win-win for both parties, okay? Now, just a little bit of a word of warning, especially for those who haven't tried and, you know, go out with their offer anywhere. People are always going to be a bit more resistant to group teaching online. It's changed quite a lot. People are warming up to the idea because of lockdown, because of, you know, how everything has been happening online, but they're still a bit more resistant than to one-to-ones. So the perfect example, because I know there are a lot of you here who are interested in running group classes, is by addressing it in your message. Okay, so we talked about your message a little bit. And what you will need to do is you will need to think about what your people, so those students who are, I know it's not always very clear what they exactly what they want, but it's not like I know everything about my audience. I learn about you people and other people in my audience every day, okay? But I find out this information by talking to them, okay? So I exchange messages, I read comments, I post a lot and I see what happens. If people don't engage, then I know that it's not interesting. If they engage and say something specific, then I just take a mental note of it. One of the things could be that people might have some objections to group classes because they think it's, oh, online, is it going to work? Is it worth it? Is it, they have lots of things. So the best solution is for you to address it before they even have that objection. So you could talk about it in your posts, for example, right? You could say, oh, there are some great advantages of studying groups. List the advantages, okay? So obviously you're not going to do it randomly when you know that your people are the people who want to study individually. But if you already have some information, an indication that your students would be interested or might be interested in group classes, then you would, okay? Your offer could be, again, I made it up, a 5-week group course with lessons once a week, English plus British culture. So people, literally conversation classes every week, them talking about some you know, aspects of British culture, don't know, food, traveling, interesting places, Harry Potter, whatever, because it wouldn't matter that much because those people just want to get fluent, right? There's actually a course, an asynchronous course that has like things like that on Future Learn. So I know people are interested in such things. So again, that's just an idea. No, again, not that way. Other offer ideas, okay? So we've got one-to-ones, we've got group classes, and we've got more, obviously. So number one that I listed is lesson packages versus courses and programs. I think I used to get confused by these. So let me tell you what I mean by them. By lesson packages, I mean basically selling usually one-to-one classes, but not by the hour. So this is going to partly address your question, Della. Not by the hour, but in bundles of at least, I would say 5 or 10 or something like that. And there is a simple reason why it's better. What do you think is more difficult, to find a new paying customer or to retain a customer? Not a new customer, but to retain a customer. To find and sign someone up or to retain someone? Absolutely. Find. It's find. Find and sign up. Retention is where you want to be, okay? So the more classes originally you can offer to a person, the better, okay? the more they sign up to, the better, because later on they will probably sign up to a bit more. Okay, most of your students will, not everybody, obviously. Some people just come, take a bit of your time or your energy and just leave, and it's fine, it's okay. But lots of people, when they already get to know you, when they enjoy the classes, when they find them useful, they will just stay. Okay, so the better, so it's just a better and a safer solution for you financially. You can anticipate a little bit more where you're going to be financially, for example, for a longer period. So I think my packages were at least 10 lessons. I know people do 8, and it can be things like, it doesn't even have to be 60-minute lessons. It could be 40, 45-minute lessons. And then it's less scary in terms of price. So there are lots of sort of things that you can do there, but it's just that better option compared to just by the hour. Versus courses or programs. So by courses or programs, I mean things that I know also a couple of you here were interested in creating. So again, when I used to teach business English, the beginning of last year, I created a 10-week program for business professionals, and each lesson was sort of devoted to something else. So there were 3 lessons on some vocabulary, 3 lessons on some other aspects of business English, 3 lessons of something on something else. This was inspired by my husband, who told me, oh, IT people need English because everybody wants to be in IT now. There are lots of designers, there are lots of like web developers, but for example, around Europe, and they don't speak any English, and they have very specific needs. And I looked at that and I thought, okay, they understand reading very well, but they can't speak. They don't have very good pronunciation because they just read. They don't speak enough. They don't listen enough. And I created something like that for 10 weeks, and it sold very well, you know. The reason for that is because those people kind of identified themselves in that course, okay? So if you are thinking of creating a course or a program like that, again, you would have to be very specific in terms of the group that you are addressing, right? So it could be professionals, but it doesn't have to be. It's just something that I did, and create at least an outline of your course, right? And then it would be much easier for you to actually sell something like that, because you could already speak about what's inside your offer. If you imagine talking about, oh, I offer one-to-one tuition, right, to I don't know, whatever, French expats in the UK, but you don't know exactly who they are, then it's still, you can still absolutely sell to them. But if you want to create a course, you could say, oh, I know that your problem is this, and this is going to be covered in week 3 of my course. So this is how it works. So this is what I understand by courses or programs. Obviously, there is also the classical meaning of courses, which is what language schools sell. So I don't know, like exam preparation courses, IELTS, CAE, FCE, anything else like that, business English. So basically a course would mean completing a course book or anything like that, which again is something that you can do. It's just, I think, a bit less popular when you're a solopreneur. For some reason, I don't really know why, but I think it's quite hard to convince someone to sign up with you for like a whole semester of study. So that's why you can create your own alternative. So for example, a 10-week course or a 12-week course, it's really up to you and your imagination. Then another option is creating asynchronous courses. So creating videos and materials for people for self-study. I actually have been looking for a Spanish teacher, and I found someone really cool on Instagram, and they sent me their offer, which I thought was interesting. So she created like videos for self-study that I would do like twice a week, I think. And then on top of that, there would be a 20-minute conversation with her. So it's not like a full lesson, but 20 minutes. But still, she was charging quite a lot of that. And I found that, oh, that's a nice business model. So that's something else. And obviously the advantage of that is that you don't, once it's created, obviously it takes quite a lot of time to create, but then it doesn't cost you that much energy and that much time, because those people do it in their own time. And if they only meet you once a week for 20 minutes, then that's nothing. And you still charge. And it works a little bit like passive income, okay? But that's something that person created, which was quite original. Another option is basically creating your own course, so like an equivalent of a program, just like like a program I mentioned, a 10-week or a 12-week one, but without the live element. So you would record videos, you would create some self-study PDF materials, and you would upload it to some sort of a platform like Teachable, Thinkific, Udemy. Do we know Udemy? A platform with courses for different fields. Udemy. I'll write it in the chat. You can have a look. Udemy. Yes, lovely. Emmanuel, you ask how much can we ask for the equivalent of the Spanish teacher? What do you mean?
I mean, the kind of courses that she was offering, you know, a video plus 20 minutes. I mean, I've never seen such an offer. I have an idea. I haven't got a clue of how much I can ask for her.
Wait a minute.
I mean, when you have some things so new, I mean, how do you market yourself? How do you set a price? Because
that's a whole new topic. That's a whole different topic. So basically at the very beginning, it's just a plain guess. And you take it from there. You see what happens, basically. Okay. I always say, think of a price, think of something that feels slightly uncomfortable, which is too much. Think of something that feels like, no, that's too little, I'm worth much more. And then something in the middle is probably right. And then in 3 months' time or in 6 months' time, you'll be able to go a bit higher because you'll feel more comfortable. But it is plain guesses. It's nothing else than that. Yeah. I think she was charging about €100 for a package of 4, but I don't know how it exactly works. So I don't know. I can't really tell you what's the details of that. I just know that there was some self-study plus 20 minutes of conversation. So I would assume that's a month of study for €100. But there is literally nearly no input from her, right? Because she created those videos or whatever materials before. Okay. Another thing is workshops, like Simone does, right? And it could work for anybody as well. So it's something more ad hoc, right? It's something that would probably, I think people who create workshops eventually work towards creating a bigger course, okay? But workshops are something very good. So again, it will depend on a niche. It could depend on, I think it would work very well with professionals, especially because you could teach them something very specific, such as how to deal with or how to create a presentation in English when you are an IT specialist, whatever. I can imagine going to a workshop. I mean, maybe not me but an IT person going to a workshop like that. So just another idea. Oh, by the way, speak of the devil, Simone is here. Just a sec. She's still teaching. Hello. Hi, Simona. Speak of the devil. I was just talking about workshops, which are your kind of offer.
Oh, perfect. I'm
Yes.
actually done. I'm still at the school. That's why I'm wearing the mask, but I'm going
All
home.
right. No problem.
Mhm.
No worries. Another option is, as you've noticed, and you're part of one, memberships, right? So I've spoken to a few people who are interested in opening, or I don't know if I know anybody running one, memberships, okay, for English language learners or teachers. There are obviously lots of memberships for teachers, usually involving things like materials for teachers, lesson plans and stuff like that. Think One Stop English. Do we know One Stop English? It's like the Macmillan website. Have a look, One Stop English written together. You pay like an annual fee and you've got lots of materials from Macmillan, things like that. The same kind of thing, obviously on a smaller scale, could work. Oh yes, I know actually one person who runs something like that. She's Mexican. I'll post her in the group. And she's got a membership with, I think in the membership there are materials for self-study for the students, some grammar worksheets, some vocabulary worksheets, some other things. And then she has weekly conversation classes with her members. So obviously the fee is quite small, but she's got lots of people in the membership. So there is a compound effect of that, and it's a stable income again. Obviously, you could offer other language services such as proofreading or ad hoc job preparation, especially if you're in the business English niche or field. That's an option, right? I've heard of people, especially those working with teachers, doing things like preparing people for certain teaching exams. And also it is kind of an ad hoc offer. And anything you can think of. Obviously, if you do translation, you can do translation, but I've never been in that field, so I couldn't really advise. And creating any sort of self-study materials and selling them online is another option. By self-study, I mean both for students as well as for teachers. There is a very popular American website called Teachers Pay Teachers. Yeah, Della knows, where people actually make very good money on making worksheets for other teachers, lesson plans, lots of things. People have full businesses doing just that, okay? But there is also, obviously, there is lots and lots and lots of, pardon my French, crap online for free. So your offer would be something special, okay? And it's actually, I've completely changed my thinking now. So I think it's actually much easier to sell something special that is paid rather than keep offering free things, because people do not respect free things anymore. Not in the era of Google and everything being Googleable and found for free. So these are the other ideas. Then I'm going to speed up a bit. Ooh. How do you write your offer? Okay, so you've realized, you've decided that you want to do some group teaching. Okay, this is what you want to start promoting. Okay, or one-to-one, or your workshops, or your whatever. Okay, or your added offer to what you're currently doing. And you want to present it in some sort of a way. Okay, I would use this simple formula. Okay. I will talk about the logistics of it as well in a moment, but a lot of people start with saying things like, study English with me. I offer English classes, general English for £25 an hour, and things like that. Please do not do that, okay? Have something like a catchy headline, because this is, we really want people to read it, okay? We want them to identify with it. We want them to want to be the people that you are talking to in your offer. So it will require a little bit of, again, research and you knowing your audience, okay? But again, it's not like I did know a lot about my audience. I actually didn't. I offered something and I saw and I started kind of thinking about what was working and what wasn't working. And that's also another way of getting to know your audience, right? So catchy headlines such as, do you feel shy in your business meetings, right? Then you would list a list of potential problems. So do you never know what to say? Do you feel stuck when people ask you questions in business meetings? Do you da 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 da? So you will try to imagine as much as possible how a person who is your client or student would feel, okay? So it can't be, try and think about it very specifically. So when you say about situations that concern business, then just stay in that business area rather than saying one thing about business and then the other thing about a social event. Try and stay in that one area. And then at the end of the potential problems, say something. Obviously, you don't have to say not to worry, but I think I say no worries or something like that. Something like I've got a solution, basically, right? And your solution. I've now prepared a course. I'm now enrolling for my workshop. I'm now signing people up for my one-to-one lessons. And then you would also introduce yourself, who you are. Do not brag with your certificates. Just say, try to be human, okay? Talk about who you are, why you do what you do, okay? I'm actually preparing a full week about certificates in English language teaching, because I see people talk about how many qualifications they've got, while students very often don't know what they even mean. So I think there is a more effective way of connecting with your people, because it's all about connections, okay? Even in that offer, you can connect with them. So you would introduce yourself, you would say why, and then something that is called a stack. So what they get. So this is the nitty-gritty of your offer. I offer one-to-one lessons in packages of 8, 12, or 16 lessons. Don't say about the price yet. Or I offer a 10-week course in which we will address your problems with confidence, pronunciation, and extend your vocabulary. So you can feel more confident in meetings and like you're enjoying them, okay? Remember always to add something that they actually get as a result of completing your course, okay? This is something very powerful. And again, and at the end, you would talk about the investment. Again, this is a marketing trick. Don't say price, say investment. It just sounds a bit better. And remember to give people information on how to sign up. So it could be things like, email me at message me privately on Instagram, comment under this post, message me on Facebook, whatever, okay? Remember to include this information. When writing your offer, the more information you include, the better. The more objections you can deal with, the better, okay? Remember that people are more likely to sign up. So, for example, I was very scared of including my prices in my offer at the beginning, because I thought, oh, but it's going to repel people from, even before they speak to me. But is that bad? I think it's okay, actually, now. So it's about thinking about it. I know you might not be comfortable with it, so you might want to wait and you might want to speak to people about your prices. It's absolutely fine. But try and include as much information as possible. Remember about the fact that you know about your offer, your offer inside out. Those people don't know. So you need to tell them as if they were little children about what is there and what they're going to get when they sign up. Potential pitfalls are that the offers are not specific enough, okay? So they do not touch on the problems of the people that you want to address. They're confusing. There's too much information, or they are too wide. So for example, somebody mentions some problem in the workplace, but then they also mention a problem on a party. Okay, pick one. Okay, pick one group or one group of problems. All right. And or no price, no contact info. So sometimes people are repelled because they don't see the price. Okay, people like to know everything. That's unfortunately the truth. And contact information is crucial. So as simple as possible, make it as simple as possible for people to sign up or ask you for information or contact you for whatever they want to know. Okay, now logistics. So Alina asked before in the group about, so, but like we're writing it, but what, are we writing it on a piece of paper or what are we doing? So before my website was ready, I literally created my website as a Word document. And I turned it into a PDF. Then I found out about Canva and I created it in Canva. So what I'm trying to say is you indeed do not need a website. If you're only just starting, you can create a simple PDF where this offer is, okay? It can be a PDF that you put on your Google Drive and then have a link in your Instagram bio, right? Where the website is. You can have it as a, I would probably not use like a Word document. I would make it into a PDF because it looks just a bit more professional. But as I'm saying, you don't need a website in order to present it. So I think the easiest now, I hope everybody is using Canva. If not, start using Canva. It's for free. Canva. Canva. Oh, there are lots of questions, sorry. I will answer all the questions. I'm wondering about having two offers. Naomi, ask me in a moment, okay? I wouldn't even know where to start with creating something like a workshop. I would focus on one-to-ones for now, Joe, okay? Or like mini groups, do that with children. Yes, but you would address their parents then, right? Membership is definitely up my sleeve. Yes, nice. As to, does Kinga have her stuff? No, I think Kinga offers her stuff on a Polish website. I have a couple of book ideas. Yes, me too. Oh my God, writing a book, that would be amazing. Where do we do this? On a poster on Insta? Exactly. So that's what I was gonna say. Why should they contact you privately on setup? The price up front. Once again, Emmanuel, why should they contact you privately and set up the price up front? Why? What do you mean by that?
It's just because you said that you would ask them on Instagram, etc., or on your website, and then you would say, please, if you're interested in my offer, contact me privately. Why? I mean, is it because you might change prices in the future, or what would be the reason
I think
for that?
just if you're trying to, oh yes, I guess maybe I missed a step there. So I think it's worth having a conversation with people who are interested in your offer in terms of, for example, what their level is. Okay, so what I used to do in the past is that I would ask people to contact me so I can set up a little call with them, actually, to have a chat about their level, about their goals, needs, and stuff like that for 15 minutes. Okay.
Absolutely, thank you.
Not necessarily to change, but you know, you could if you wanted to. It's totally up to you. Book club, okay, different conversation. Do you think a magical solution would yeah, Simone, good question.
I missed the be qualified. It should have, would it be qualified? Because sometimes I feel like I don't sell my courses better because it's not magical. I don't have 100% creative classes 100% of the time. And I feel like it would be fake of me to advertise that. Do you want to have amazingly creative classes every time? It's not true and it's not real.
Why is it not true? Why is it not real?
Oh, because, you know, sometimes we're tired. I'm tired sometimes, and all the wonderful things I planned and I knew they would work. I don't have the enthusiasm that on that specific day, or maybe that day students are tired. Normally, all of them work if you put everything in practice, but because you're not a robot, you know, I
Yeah.
feel like I would be cheating teachers if I tell them that
Mm.
my classes are 100% creative 100% of the time. They
They're
do
not,
work
but are they,
beautifully,
do
but
they have to be?
no, no, exactly. That's where I'm trying to draw the line between what is expected and how to advertise without sounding magical.
I know what you mean. And I think it's a question of two things. It's a question of copywriting, and it's a question of our own mindset. Because, so for example, I was going to give you an example of an offer written in that sort of style as my own offer. So you can go to my website and see how it works. It's an elaborate page, and it's actually a sales page, but you can have a look at how it works, right? And there is some language that you could call perhaps a bit, persuasive. But again, I had to come to terms with the fact that there is a certain purpose of this page and of creating an offer. It's for people to get interested in it. So while I don't consider it lying when I say you can also have those amazing results, because I do believe that the results of some of my clients are amazing, right? It doesn't mean that everybody's going to get amazing results. But again, I think it's got lots to do with how we actually perceive our services. I don't know. I feel like it's a very deep
you're
conversation.
not going to sell, because I wouldn't sell an English course saying like, you might learn English. Nobody says that, right?
Exactly.
So yes,
exactly.
It's true. I have to change my mindset. It doesn't matter what they will do with what I offer. I have to offer it as being great, because it is. It's just what they do with it is not my business. Okay.
Precisely. Yeah. Clara, did you want to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I think you kind of covered it, Ola. It is part copywriting and part mindset, as you said. And this was exactly my question, I think, a year ago. Wouldn't I be lying to say that, well, you're going to improve or you're going to grow with your business English? We're not saying learn this and I can guarantee you that this language will be installed in you and that you will become the pro. No, you're not saying that. Or in your case, Simona, you're guaranteeing that other teachers are going to be interesting 100% of the time. That would be lying, because nobody could know that.
You cannot guarantee. You're not a door-to-door salesman who guarantees like magical results with your magical machine. But, and again, this is something that I'm so interested in at the moment, and I'm writing a newsletter about it, about how, again, marketing is not just showing, here is my workshop on grammar. It's showing people potential opportunities and what can happen if they actually do put all your advice in action. Because, the reality can be amazing, in perfect conditions, I guess, I don't think it's lying. Again, it's copyright. Yeah. Bye, Alex. That's okay. Don't worry. Erin, did you want to add something? Sorry, not ignoring.
No, I think everyone's basically said it, but I totally understand where Simona's coming from. It's you feel like maybe it's a bit of imposter syndrome as well, like and again, it's like going back to my first video, you've just got to believe in yourself and have confidence in yourself, because I'm like thinking about the offers I'm going to be putting out, and I keep thinking to myself, am I better than these teachers I'm trying to teach? Like, am I really going to make it? Yes, I am. You've just got to like
you just
jump
have to
over
say it to yourself.
You just have to keep ignoring that devil on your shoulder and just keep believing that you can do this. And I think you just have to try and keep into that mindset as much as possible.
This is by the way an amazing topic for a whole masterclass, because we have so many doubts, and I know that imposter syndrome and everything as a teacher. Anyways, let me just finish that, and we can do a few questions as well. Again, this way. Finally, how to talk about your offer. Okay, so the way you present it is up to you. If you have a website, it can be on your website. If you don't have a website, it can be a simple PDF. But the most important thing and the most common pitfall is that people do not talk about their offers at all, altogether. No, null, nada. People post on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn with language bites, and if they have an offer, because obviously sometimes that's not the goal, they never mention that they have it. Also, again, and it might be your imposter syndrome talking, we think that if we said something once, it's enough. It's never enough. I would talk about your offer probably at least an absolute minimum of once a week. At least. People do not go and check what you offer if you don't tell them. People do not. I have literally examples of that people, new followers come to me. They've been with me for 2 weeks. I haven't been talking about what I do as a job and what my paid services are. And they ask me, oh, what do you do actually? And I'm like, what the hell? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in my bio. I've got a website. Everything is there. No, they don't know. They don't check. Okay. They think you're an interesting person. They think you post interesting things, but you have to tell them. So it can be a PDF, a simple page, and a link. Always have it ready. Okay. Whenever anybody asks, send it via an email. Have it in your Instagram bio. Okay. Have it in your. Deepika will explain basics of this, by the way. She's having a class with you soon. Post it as a post on Instagram or Facebook. You don't have to do it regularly, but when you're ready, okay, when it's ready, you can literally create one of those carousel posts, those that you can slide from right to left with do you want to be confident in meetings, right? Second slide, are these your problems? Third, fourth, and so on and so forth. So people actually know. And then when somebody asks, you could even send them to that post so they can read what you are about, okay? And you can do a massive sing and dance about that post so people know this is what I'm going to be doing now. Okay, this is what I did. So if you want to actually see what it looks like, I did that for the membership, created a post, started talking about it quite a lot so that people found out about it. Email, if you have old students, and you should start collecting emails of all the people, all the relevant people, okay? Start from today. Send them. You never know where they are now. If you have any past students that you are still in touch with, literally, how did I get in touch with Tracy here? Because I sent an email. Tracy used to be my CELTA trainee. Emmanuel, same, right? She was on one of the mailing lists there. Things like that happen all the time, okay? People from the past might actually be in a place where they need your service or your offer. Tell your friends. I know it's a bit cringe, but I post on my personal Facebook now because I don't care what people think. At first, I was hiding it from my ex-boss because she was a bitch. Now I literally post it in her face. Pardon my French again, because I want them to know I'm successful and not stuck in that stupid job anymore. So I post like crazy. And again, there might be people interested. Okay, I still have lots of like old contacts and friends. If not, maybe they will tell their friends, all sorts of things. One other thing that we forget about is all those ad websites. So in Poland, there is OLX, Aga. In England, and Marta, in England, there is Gumtree. In France and other places, no idea. So you'll have to Google that. Sorry, that's where my knowledge ends. But all those places where people normally post their offers of selling some little things, or like any sort of ads, job ads, offering services, you can post there as well. Okay, it's a bit more of a cold message sort of thingy, but still, you want to gain momentum, you want to gain traction, you want people to notice that you're doing something. So yeah, have a look what's available where you are and post it there. And again, it cannot be stressed too much. Make it clear that you do have an offer. Do not fall into that trap of just talking about, oh, I'm just going to teach English on Instagram, because you are unfortunately going to attract all those freebies, right? Like Hannah had the experience, and we don't want that, because I mean, it's fine. You know, there will always be people who are going to come to you, and they will probably be your most engaged community. They will comment, say that you're amazing, that they're learn. They will never buy from you then. There are lots of people who are very active on my Instagram, and then they never ever are interested in my offer. And it's fine. This is how life works. It's okay. It's absolutely fine. But thanks to them, there is that momentum, there is that, you know, engagement and everything. So it's actually absolutely okay. Woo! That's it. Questions? There is something in there. If anyone has a problem with it, they're not real friends. Exactly, exactly. Ah, yeah, my ex-boss is definitely not my friend. Posted on my personal Instagram, lots of friends follow us now. Exactly, exactly. This is how you gain followers. I mean, also, again, if you feel that it's a bit uncomfortable, then it's a mindset issue. Are you a bit afraid of what people are going to think when you tell them that you run a business? I bet you are. I did too. I thought, literally the other day, I had a conversation with an old friend who said, oh, how is this business going? And I'm like, no, it's actually going great. Oh, fantastic. So when you start, so you can start, like, she literally said something like, so you can now contribute a bit to the family budget. Not really. I have a full salary, like, from my business. So people have very weird ideas about businesses, and especially teaching businesses. So yeah. Is an offer different to a proposal? Isn't it just the wording? Isn't proposal a bit more old-fashioned?
That's just what I was asking, because you know,
No.
like we talked about my proposal the other day.
Yeah.
Is
I
it the
guess
same?
you would send the proposal to someone like this woman you mentioned, the French Guyanian woman, because it is a proposal rather than, yeah, there is a slight difference, but I think in most people's cases, it is going to be an offer. Okay. Della, did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. I guess I had my mind, because I kind of fell into teaching online with one client just by accident. And I was just like, okay, $40 an hour, let's go. That's how I thought of it. But then I also realized a lot of times we would go over an hour. There was like no real way to charge for that extra half hour.
Yeah. So this is those kind of situations, boundaries.
Yeah.
Also, you will notice when you're already doing it for a while that people cancel like crazy. They don't treat it seriously.
Yeah,
So,
and I think I had a very similar experience to Hannah this weekend. I met this woman through Instagram from Jordan, and I had like a free like Zoom call with her for 30 minutes. And I gave her an offer based on an hourly rate. I said, okay, how much does a sundress cost in Jordan? Okay. And that's just what I was doing. I was like, okay, if you can afford to get a sundress, you know, based on whatever I Googled, that's the rate that I'll go with. And then I gave her my rate per hour. And then she came back to me and said, after discussing it with my family, we are not paying, we don't have the ability to pay for anything. So I was like, okay, that's fine. You know.
okay. was
That's
definitely one
she's
of
not
those
for me.
for
She's
you.
not my
Oh, yeah.
ideal client. I want somebody who's
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
to invest.
Exactly, exactly. Unfortunately, and it is quite common. People see somebody online. Do you know how many actually learners I get on my Instagram profile asking me, like especially men, and it's quite creepy, asking me like, can you give me advice for how I can be fluent? I'm like, I do not work with learners, and why would I give you free advice? I mean, I guess you can every now and again, but it's just so weird, so weird. Anyways, yes, Joe, sorry, what's your question? I'm sorry, lol, when you're on about writing a PDF, does that all the content which you offer, what you can offer, packages and prices? Once again, can you ask this question out loud?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So, you know, when you're writing your you have to write a PDF. You said about PDF stuff. So what do you actually put on that? Do you put like what you offer, your prices, your content that you can offer, your packages that you offer, just basically everything that you want the person to know about you?
Yeah. Yes.
All
yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm all
No,
these
no, no,
questions.
that's
I'm so
fine.
sorry.
That's fine. I will, it's literally that slide number 8, basically.
Right, okay.
So the headlines that I use there, let me just share for one more second. These, it will be everything in your offer, okay?
Okay.
A catchy headline. Do you want to improve your English to be better? Da, da, da. What your problems are. I've got a solution. I'm Joe. I'm da, 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 da. You will get this, 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 and that in my offer, and the price at the end. Yeah.
Right, okay.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
I know there
Thank
was
you.
lots of information there.
I know. No, it's not that.
Yes,
It's just
Naomi. I'm wondering about different offers on different platforms. Can you give me an example or?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And I used to work with construction workers. I used to teach literacy to construction workers. Yeah, it's the most weird job ever.
ESOL,
But
right? Is that
no,
ESOL?
literacy. Yeah. So there's a huge proportion of British people who don't feel confident with their written English. And I used to teach them how to read and write English, basically. So on my LinkedIn is full to the brim with like scaffolders, roofers, people who don't feel good about what the way they write. And I'm teaching currently a British woman who also doesn't feel confident about her English. So it's completely different from our Hotshot English offering,
Yes.
which is ESL. But I was thinking it would be really cool to kind of put together a course, like a 5 lessons like brush up your English course, because now I have the reputation with those guys. They know that I'm a great teacher. And I haven't seen most of them for 5 years since I came to Germany. So I was thinking maybe do one ESL offer for Instagram for people who are learning English.
Yeah. Especially that you keep it so separate because you don't do anything of the, none of the hotshot stuff is on LinkedIn, right?
No, nothing at the
No,
moment.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I would totally go for it.
Okay, cool.
If you cross post like I do, then I wouldn't, because it would be so inconsistent, but consistency. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It would probably mean that you would have to start engaging a bit on LinkedIn so people know what you do, or use some old testimonials, use some things like, oh, by the way, guys, it's a good idea if you already have some testimonials to add them to that offer page as well, if you can. Okay. Sorry, just had that thought.
That's a good idea.
I used my when I first started, I didn't have relevant testimonials, but I asked people I worked with to say a few nice words, and it worked. It's just this social proof. People like to see social proof. So whatever you have.
Cool. Thanks.
No worries. Any other questions, guys? If you want me to have a look at your offers, you're more than welcome to post them in the group, and I can give you quick feedback on what you create there as a PDF or as a link to something. You can post that. Actually, everybody can have a look, and we can have a collective. Oh, I might actually create a post, and then you can create post a link to whatever you've created. No problem at all. I'm just going to stop recording.